responsible for Islam, but their fingerprints is all over the doctrine. From Muhammad's advisors being Christians, his first wife being a Catholic nun, right? So we see the influence of the church, but the doctrine appears different. But when you look at the chapter of Miriam, right, all it is Hail Mary, Mother of God, sacred is thy womb. It's the same thing.
Wow.
So Allah was subverted in the power structure in order for the patriarchs to break up the priestesses that were the original priestesses of the Sufi, which was the divine feminine priests that ruled Arabia until they was attacked in the Hijra. And you know that the Hijra was part of the women's army because they commissioned the elephants. The elephants was under the jurisdictional command of the queens, the female priestesses. She wouldn't just run elephants in the war without cause. That was a different era. We be looking at stuff with modern eyes, but we don't realize the culture of the era and the times make a difference in what you're seeing and what it meant at the time that it happened. Because remember, they only giving us the cliff notes. They're not giving us the intricate day-to-day detail because nobody can write that much stuff down about one person. And we don't really care about when they went to the bathroom, when they washed their ass. That don't need to be in there. Unless it's part of a significant life cliff note, like they was washing their ass and got struck by lightning. That's something to write about. Right? We don't write about people's meals unless we writing about them in the context of like a Last Supper or a sacrificial barbecue that they call a sacrifice, but it was really just a barbecue, and that's why they always talking about the savory sin of the sacrifice. They didn't just kill the animal, they ate that sucker. That's why Yahweh told them to make sure that they bring back all of the ones with no blemish. That means they don't want no defective food products. Bring us the best you got for my meal. Which means Yahweh had to be walking around like a regular man because he was eating sacrifice or barbecue, as we call it today. The altar was the grill. Why you think Abraham was stoking it with sticks when he was about to sacrifice Ishmael? He's about to barbecue his son and eat with the Luna gods.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's what Icky said. He was like, man, that's crazy. Why you got that man down there about to barbecue his son? Man, how do you put that ram on there instead? So he sent his messenger. And they call him an angel. He was just the guy that come to deliver the message. That's what angel mean. The message deliverer. The mailman. Hey man, the old man said, don't put your son up there, don't barbecue your son. They ain't finna let them eat your son. Put that goat over there. See him stuck in the thicket. Oh yeah, good looking. Barbecue goat pretty good too.
The West Indians up here love some goat. Goat milk, goat cheese, oxtail.
Look, anytime I see a Haitian or a Jamaican restaurant, first thing I ask for is some goat. Do y'all got goat?
What's the difference between goat meat and oxtail meat?
Oxtail is from the cow. Goat is from a goat. In the context of the meat, the bovine beef cow is really too high in what they call saturated fat for human consumption. the excess fat builds up in the brain and gets stuck beyond the blood-brain barrier because in order to get it out of there, you need a carrier oil. This is why they ban hemp oil. Hemp oil was a carrier oil. You rub it on your skin and it'll help you to remove the plaque buildup in the brain. But anyway, so the saturated fat of the bovine beef is why we didn't eat beef. This is why the cow was sacred in India. They would use the product of the cow, the urine, the milk, the dung, the blood, but they didn't eat the meat of the cow because the meat of the cow was unfit for human consumption because it causes that plaque buildup in the brain over time. Whereas goat and lamb, that's what you call a omega-rich unsaturated fat or polyunsaturated fat, which is like putting a clear liquid oil through the brain instead of lard. So instead of the plaque, which looks like lard in the brain, the clear liquid can also serve as a carrier to break down the larger oils and help get the plaque from beyond the blood-brain barrier. But that go into the healing of AIDS-related disorders, and that's a whole nother topic. Yeah, but that's the difference in the meat, right? And pork became taboo because the class of people who was tasked with farming the pigs used to smell like they farmed pigs. So we ain't want them around. Remember, bathing was only allowed in the royal class. Regular people had to go bathe in the river if they was going to bathe, and risk crocodiles or hippopotamuses if you were in the Nile. But if you were in the Mississippi, you was risking them big ass alligators. So we didn't bathe as often in those bodies of water. But we did rituals in them, and for some reason during the rituals, we was never accosted by those predator animals. Then after a while, you had what we call Sobek priests. Sobek priests, they could navigate and control alligator attacks. And they used to stick them on the colonizers. They knew them by scent because they didn't smell like we smelled. Because they ain't from where we from. So the alligator knew the imposter. They had to train the alligators to eat us, and they called that gator bait. Because the alligator wouldn't eat an indigenous person to this land until they was trained over generations of gator baiting to eat us. Sure. They smell the enemy, and the enemy throw our babies out there because they helpless. And they know the baby don't know he can control the alligator because he wasn't raised as a Sobek priest, so he just going to be food for fodder.
Mm.
You know, it's funny you said it, Rod. I just put out the gator teeth and stuff. I was going to show him something. Go ahead, G.
The original name was the cerebral spinal fluid of alligators and crocodiles, depending on where you was on the planet. The olive oil is what you call a viable facsimile of the original.
I'm from
under the Sobek priest, the anointing oil was given to the other priests because it meant that your spine gonna be straight, you're gonna be upright. Let that sink in. That's the symbolism of the gator, the straight spine. but you're gonna be upright. This is when you look at Big Mama Tawaret and you see she standing upright with a gator tail. Right?
You saying it, I'm like, oh man, you going in there now. And I got a statue over there with her standing up with the gator tail holding the baby up.
Mm-hmm.
You divine with these. This is alligator spine. Or alligator the not spine, but the shells on his back.
I thought it was a potato chip.
You divine with them. You divine with those shells.
Yeah.
Yo, hold it up longer than a half a second, bro. Put it. Hold it there. Yeah, do a slow turn. Wow, that looked like
the shell on the alligator. This is one of the shells on the alligator. I got some alligator teeth. This ain't the alligator tooth right now, but I got some alligator teeth. But when you start talking about the Sobek priest, everything he said was absolutely right. We were really, really cool with alligators and crocodiles back in the day. And honestly, we look at them as our ancestors because they're still part of that dragon clan or dragon class. The alligator is the Volacun, but the serpent is the messenger of Volacun.
Yo, could you show us some alligator teeth?
Yeah, most of them.
Those are the Nagas priests he's talking about, the serpent priests or the serpent kings. Right? Remember, if you go through history, there's no great king in our culture that's not also a great priest. Whether you go
say that again. Say that again.
There's no great king in our cultures, the original cultures, that's not also a great priest. Right? And if he's going to be a great king and a great priest, he also has to be a great general.
Ooh.
So I got it tied in copper, tied in knots in copper, but and then we'll put a stone on the end of it, but usually you got a hole in here. Now this is a crocodile, this is from Africa, and this is a lion. I can't show you what other ones I got, but and then you got skins from albinos.
Oh, slow down, Orisha. Do the crocodile tooth again. Yeah, because that's like a dragon tooth. Hold it slow, brother. Yeah, do a slow turn on it.
Shout out South Africa to the Quake clan.
Look, the Sobek priests used to weave those teeth in their necklaces, and they used to all be tied together with knots.
You can't really do it now because they're trying to take it. Yeah, I don't have no. That's the only kind of teeth I got is crocodile teeth. But yeah, everything because all of it is ritualistic. So yeah, I can't. Some of the stuff we don't really talk about too much.
And do a slow 360 with the lion tooth.
That's not a lion tooth. I was just playing. That's not a lion tooth. It's another crocodile tooth.
hold both of them up real slow so we can get an idea.
I just got reprimanded for that. I'm not. I just realized. But what we do have is some python skin. Some stuff. Like when it starts getting to exotic different things or whatever, they can get you for that. So my apologies, 1,000 pardons. But yeah, each one of them things is powerful. Like I said, we got a clan. Shout out to the Akoi coin. The Akoi I might be saying it wrong, but they're clans in all around, tribes all around the world is watching us and looking for information and trying to connect with us. And they don't mind giving us that juju. When we talk about, that's what I'm saying. Like you say, when you're putting all your juju in your bag, what's the first thing you do? You put everything in your bag, right? And after you put it in the bag, you seal the deal, right? And tie the knot. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but you got tobacco.
That's called cinching. That's called cinching the hand. It's a mojo turn.
Seriously,
they call the bag a mojo hand. You ain't ever hear somebody say they got their mojo hand working?
Always.
Oh, you started something now, Chief Rod. Tell us about High John the Conqueror root.
Listen, High John is the Christianized Ogun energy.
Wow.
Low John is the Christianized Legba energy. But those are ancient rights that we had on the land, and we wasn't leaving our culture without taking our protection with us. And some of the church mothers still use a high john and low john to this day. Some of them use to mop their floors, all kind of stuff, but it's all kind of power in that. And it's also, when you start using your ancient cultural practice, you start activating codons that give you more insight into the use and practice that you participating in. In other
Special
words,
acknowledgement
yeah.
to, I want to acknowledge Muddy Waters, who did a song. I'm going to do a small clip. Muddy Waters. Orisha Stone, you know about Muddy Waters?
I grew up in Gulfport. I used to work at one of the blues clubs.
Okay, now. All right. He an old man up in here.
It's a song called Mojo. Got my mojo working.
Who created that one?
Hold on, let me look.
I'm gonna look that one up too.
It's called I Got My Mojo Working. It might be Muddy Waters.
Yeah, they stay to my hot John and that old blues.
Oh, that's that is Muddy Waters. Oh, okay. Let me try to pull that up. Hold on a second.
Play a little bit of that one.
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
You know, Muddy Waters was the term in reference to the Mississippi River after the wars.
Wow.
It also is a tribal way of saying troubled waters. And then you know I'm telling you there's trouble on the land.
Ooh.
All them blues singers' names got a message in their name that's tied to our tribal history.
Tying of the knots. I'll say. Yeah, the knots are intentional, OG. Energy portals.
You know what, family? Imagine tying knots with copper. Yeah. Tying knots with not the solid copper, the one that's real frayed. You know what I mean? It's softer, so it's easy to make a knot. Extension cord copper. The copper from the extension cord. Imagine making a knot like that, then putting that around a crystal. So all of you who wrap crystals, imagine having knots. I'm just thinking about it.
It's past through energy. The knots of Anansi or the web of Anansi is energy being flowed through it. Copper, exactly, there's energy being flowed through it. But it is a special ritual. Like when you're using a certain kind of rope, it is a certain energy that flows through certain kind of cloth too, certain kind of ropes, cloths or fabrics, silk fabrics and everything else. So each one of them it does or invokes his own spirit. When you're talking about the keys of Solomon, he's tying knots to some of his different things. Like I say, some of them are buried, some of them are cast down the river, some of them are buried with certain things. It depends on what kind of juju you're working. So
Keys of Solomon is 72 keys, right?
yes, sir.
It's 72 codons, right? Let that sink in. Each one of the keys of Solomon is access to a specific codon on the DNA in order to activate a particular signature energy. The translation of the name of the God that or the angel that restricts the codon is the angle that the light is striking it from in order for it to be under the dominion of that angel or angle of light. It's reading the energy. But that's just metaphysically speaking. You know, we don't really get into too much metaphysics, but metaphysically speaking, the 72 Goetia, which is the 72 spirits, which is also tied to the 72 elders. It's all talking about information in genetics passed off under the pretenses of religion and mysticism. But it's genetics. This is why you see the two serpents coiled around the staff, which is representative of the DNA helix. But remember, the straight path is down the middle. Now we all over there with Israel regardless in the middle pillar. Right? Because the middle pillar, the light can't go through from root chakra to crown chakra if the pillar ain't straight. Right? Then you got to know the difference in the left-hand path and the right-hand path. Don't take sides. Walk the middle path.
We're gonna talk about the left hand.
Okay. Now we're going in deeper water. What's Chief Rod? What's up with them sacrifices?
Which ones?
Why do they gotta sacrifice blood for certain rituals to manifest? To get like who they feeding?
The sacrifice of the blood originated with people that saw us as food, but it ended up because there's a universal rule: the blood of the righteous shall not be spilled in vain. So whenever the blood of the righteous is spilled, the justification is the catalyst of the sacrifice. And that's why they tell you that the blood of the saints will be spilled across the land. The saints are just the ones who have no contracts. They're not bound to anybody. Their blood is free to flow. So you can sacrifice them if you can get them in the right angle. Corrupt their morality to diminish their soul power.
You know what just popped in my head? I don't know where this came from. Suppose they were talking about, instead of literal sacrifices, they were talking about menses blood, maybe from young, clean sisters.
That's exactly what it. Chief,
that was
virgin menses blood.
If you go to where Credo Mutua's little village was, where he was staying at, not too far from there's this little body of water. And that little body of water is called the yoni of the earth. And in that body of water, the old Zulu